Welcome to this explainer. I want you to take a quick second and just think about the dirt beneath your feet. Like, what is it really? Is it just rock, just physical matter, minerals, soil, maybe some earthworms hanging out down there? Or could it actually be part of a living, breathing, deeply spiritual civilization? Today, we are diving into a really fascinating academic analysis of Daesoon thought. Specifically, we're looking at its view of the earthly realm based on a concept called Chanji Seongyang-sin. We're going to unpack how this philosophy creates a totally unique modern worldview, something scholars actually call autogenous modernity. By the end of this explainer, I promise you, you might just look at the ground you walk on in an entirely different way. Okay, let's just dive right in with a quote that perfectly sets the spiritual stakes for what we're talking about today. According to Daesoon thought, heaven and earth are filled with spiritual beings. These are called sinmyong. The text literally states that if a spirit departs from even a single blade of grass, it will wither, and if a spirit moves from even an earthen wall, it will collapse. Just think about that for a second. Every single tiny aspect of nature is vitalized by a divine presence. The physical world isn't just some empty container for life. It is entirely, 100% sustained by these active spiritual beings. To make sense of this whole cosmic journey, we've got a clear 6-step roadmap today. Earth and Eastern thought, the 3 divine worlds, gods and humans connected, sincerity, respect, and faith, a new era of harmony, and finally, a modern autogenesis worldview. Let's get into it. Starting with Section 1, Earth in Eastern thought. To really lay the groundwork here, let's look at how Eastern philosophies have historically viewed the land. So there's actually a pretty wild evolutionary shift happening here. If you look at older Dongok thought, which is an earlier Korean philosophical movement, the concept of the Earth is, well, it's pretty abstract. It's super focused on energy, harmony, and non-action. The transcendental heaven is there, sure, but mostly as an abstract force. But Daesoon thought? It takes a massive leap. Instead of just floating, abstract energy, the Earth is understood through personal divine names and direct divine commands. Basically, the Earth appears to humans in the form of a concrete, personal God. It's a huge shift from an abstract idea to a deeply personalized divine system. And, you can see this exact transition documented right here in the academic research. The scholarship highlights this clear movement from Donghak's Heaven and Earth and Ghosts to Daesoon's Heaven and Earth and Divine Name. This isn't just poetic language, guys. It's a rigorously structured theological system. It's always great to ground our explainer in this kind of scholarship because it shows us that this captivating cosmology is rooted in deep structured thought. All right, Section 2, the 3 divine worlds. If the universe is packed with these personalized divine beings, how is it all organized? Let's map it out. So Daesoon thought maps reality into 3 distinct but totally interacting realms. First up is the heavenly world. This is the realm of heavenly processes, the place where spiritual beings, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas gather. Second is the earth world, and this is fascinating. It's described as the world of civilization and form. It's literally an underground civilization where gods learn from heaven. And finally, the human world. But here's the catch. It's not just the place where we live. It is defined specifically as the system of interaction with gods. The human world is basically the interface. Which brings us right to Section 3, gods and humans connected. We know the what and the where. So let's talk about the how. What's the mechanical relationship here?
Well, to understand this, we kind of have to completely throw out our standard concept of a god. In this system, a spiritual being, or sinmyong, is defined almost like a highly focused technician. They're described as mechanical experts who are extremely committed to the truth, and they specialize in one very specific field. So they aren't these all-knowing generalists sitting on fluffy clouds. They are hyper-specialized forces of nature managing very specific elements of reality.
So here's where it gets really interesting. How do these specialized gods interact with us? The gods are mechanical and highly specialized, right? But humans, we are organic beings capable of cross-field communication. We are the generalists. Because the gods are so locked into their specialties, they actually rely on humans to be the harmonizers. It's this beautiful, symbiotic relationship. The gods provide the truth and the specialized mechanics, but humans are required to organically weave it all together. We are literally the managers of this divine energy. Moving into Section 4, sincerity, respect, and faith. If we humans are the great harmonizers of the cosmos, what is the core tool that makes that possible? It all boils down to this central term, Chonji Songyongsen.
This is an integrated concept of sincerity, respect, and faith. But listen, it's not just some nice moral guideline or a pat on the back. In this worldview, it acts as a literal principle of nature and simultaneously the ultimate human investment. It is the totality of our human effort. Chanji Songyongsen is the ultimate bridge uniting our actions with the natural divine order. When you act with ultimate sincerity, respect, and faith, you are actively participating in the mechanics of the universe.
And this profound interdependence is summarized perfectly in the source text. It says, God has nothing to rely on without people, and people have nothing to guide and rely on without God. It's a true two-way street. The gods and humans share this reality to achieve what the text calls resolution and repayment. The gods guide us, for sure, but because they are those specialized mechanical experts, they physically rely on our organic, harmonizing nature to actually get their work done in the world. So, Section 5, a new era of harmony. What actually happens when this perfect balance is finally achieved? According to this cosmology, it triggers a massive cosmic shift in eras. We transition from the Xianchen, the former era, to the Huchen, the later era. The former era was basically this huge web of multiple, messy, overlapping correspondences. It was an era of unresolved grievances where the energies of heaven and earth were constantly clashing. But the later era, the Huchen, is all about positive one-to-one win-win relationships. It's a refined cosmic era where direct, positive harmony completely replaces the chaos. The research actually refers to this as Zheng Yin Yang, which means positive yin and positive yang. Through our human effort, through that Chenji Songyangshin we talked about, we resolve all those old, messy correspondences. And here's the kicker. The ultimate goal isn't to escape the earth to go up to heaven. No way. The goal is the absolute unity and coexistence of heaven and earth right here. It is literally about establishing the kingdom of heaven on the earthly realm, transforming the earth itself into heaven through perfectly balanced win-win relationships. Finally, Section 6, a modern autogenous worldview. We've explored a deeply theological system, but why does this matter for the modern world today? Well, researchers argue that this entire system represents what they call autogenous modernity. Autogenous basically means self-generating or indigenous. So it doesn't just reject the modern world, and it doesn't blindly accept Western scientific materialism either. Instead, it creates a totally new, integrated worldview. It takes the condensed knowledge of the East, combines it with the material, physical knowledge of the West, and layers it all with Dong Hawk's harmonious view of nature. It establishes the earthly world as a divine system, providing a unique path to postmodernity where nature isn't just a resource for us to exploit, but a divine partner that we need to harmonize with. So, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on. If the earth beneath your feet is actually a living, underground civilization of specialized divine forces, and you are the vital, organic harmonizer tasked with bringing it all into balance, how might viewing yourself that way change how you interact with the modern world today? Could practicing just a little more sincerity, respect, and faith be exactly what our chaotic world needs to transition into a true win-win era? It is definitely something to think about. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.